Debbie, I want to talk about the incident involving the young black man. His name was Jordan Neely, and he was acting crazy as far as I can see on the subway. He was then restrained. Now, we've heard a lot about the fact that he was restrained by a Marine. He was restrained by one guy. When you actually see the video, you realize he was not restrained by one guy. He was restrained by multiple guys. There was one guy holding him in a chokehold, but there were other guys also attempting to contain him. And this leads to Jordan Neely's untimely death. Needless to say, it's being inflamed as a racial incident. Why? Because the Marine is white, Neely is black. Now, when you look at the other guys involved, one of them is clearly either black or Hispanic and maybe some combination of the two. So it isn't sort of a clear white against black incident. But of course, here's AOC. Jordan Neely was murdered. Here is Ayanna Pressley. Black men deserve to grow old, not be lynched on a subway. Subway. And what do you make of this situation? It's obviously tragic, and yet it's got roots here that we need to look at.
Well, first of all, this man was ill. He was mentally ill. And you know, I've told you that when the psychiatrist that I worked with when I was translating for him said, you know, the rich white liberals are the cause of me not being able to institute this person. Institutionalized because they don't meet the criteria. They have made it to where crazy people are walking among us and we can't do anything about it. We medicate them and we hope they take their meds, but we can't force them to take their meds and we cannot lock them up.
And you can't do anything until they do something horrific. I mean,
Right.
There's an example here we just saw in the New York Post where a woman named Michelle Go, she's 40 years old, she's on the subway. A homeless guy comes up to her, he has no idea who she is, and randomly pushes her onto
An oncoming train.
an incoming train. And so do you have to sort of wait until you're in front of the train in order to be able to deal with this issue?
About 25 to 27 people have been killed on the subway by these homeless crazy people. And so again, the failure here is not the fact that, oh, this is a systemic problem, racism, oh, look at this attacking a black man. No, the systemic issue is the fact that too many mentally ill people are running among us.
And New York allows this population of people to harass people, and they don't do anything about it. They don't apprehend them. They don't give them a warning. They don't give them a fine. They don't take them off the street. Yeah. This guy, Jordan Neely, is not the innocent that he's being portrayed to be. I noticed that every picture of him tends to show him as if he's like doing the moonwalk. He's a happy kid. You know, this is caricature. And this is a guy with a long rap sheet.
Yeah, he's got a long rap sheet. And again, he should have been put in at least, prison.
He should be in some sort of confinement.
But some form of confinement, because he was clearly too dangerous to be walking around New York or the subway or whatever. And, you know, and I hear this response, well, don't go in the subway. Well, you know what? A lot of people have no choice. They have to take the subway.
Well, why do we pay through our taxes for the subway if we can't use the subway?
Yeah.
Why? Who gives those guys the right to, if armed gangs patrol our subways, are we then to say, well, we can't use the subway because it's they have priority in using the subway?
What was the name of that movie that was made in the 70s?
Death Wish.
Death Wish. Okay, we're going to go back to that era where vigilante...
It's just that people, think about it. No one is even suggesting that this Marine just picked on this guy, grabbed him. No, he was obviously posing an immediate danger to the people around him. He was probably threatening them.
I think he was saying something. I think that's what happened, I think. And so they were restraining him so he wouldn't do anything crazy. And again, this kind of gets me thinking. We have a lot of crazy people, and we're going to talk about crazy people and another type of crazy person in a minute. But I just feel like, and the other thing is AOC saying, where were the cops? Where were the cops? Well, wasn't she the one saying, we don't need cops, we don't need cops? Now she's saying, where were the cops?
The cops are the problem.
So the cops were the problem. And now the cops, where were they? Why weren't they there? Well, they weren't there because she didn't want them there to begin with.
Well, and look at the analogy, like Ayanna Pressley's analogy to lynching, because these are just incendiary analogies that don't make any sense. The people who were lynched in the Old South were people that the Democrats were afraid they would get out and vote. So let's go lynch them. Very often the Ku Klux Klan came riding to your house. These are so-called night riding.
And it was their party. So again, the hypocrisy is just mind-blowing. But no, I mean, I feel like...
I think this Marine is they're going to try to Kyle Rittenhouse him now, will he?
They are.
They're going to try to go after him and make him a poster boy.
Unfortunately, the people in New York City that are, liberals there, gosh, they deserve all this crime and corruption. They do. They live in it.
Especially if they then turn around and punish the guy who's trying to restrain the other guy, and they make him the villain. That's another way of saying that you want more of this to occur, and then it's really hard for us to go, we feel really sorry for the people in New York because they have to live with this. Well, if you vote for it, you ask for it. You
get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.